4-story structure on a 1,259 square meter lot on Escolta Street, which for many years was the symbol of status and privilege. Its location was a signature of social standing. Hence, when a peninsular Castilian named Don Angel Calvo y Izquierdo from Valladolid, Spain, envisioned building a prestigious commercial structure in Manila, only Escolta qualified to be the site of the proposed edifice. It opened in 1938 and was owned by Doña Emiliana Mortera Vuida de Calvo after the death of her husband. It was a center for commerce where business flourished. It served as the home of several big companies, such as the Philippine Bank of Commerce, broadcasting radio stations, and recording studios. The Calvo building was one of the buildings that survived the World War II, especially the Japanese era in the Philippines, where Manila experienced one of its worst downfalls. From the late 19th century to the 1960s, Escolta was a thriving street of trade and commerce. One of those buildings that rose during that period was a little building called the Calvo Building. Erected in 1938, was an example of arts architecture designed by Fernando Ocampo, who built the UST Central Seminary and much later, the 8th Manila Cathedral. It was one of the few lucky structures in Escolta that have managed to survive the onslaught of the Second World War, which was to come a few years later after it was built. Especially the Battle for Manila in 1945, which significantly decimated most of Manila to the ground. While Manila recovered, the activity in Escolta began to dwindle as businesses began to move elsewhere to start anew. Those who remained had to deal with the challenges of downtown Manila's downturn after the war. The Calvo building was no exception. In the midst of these challenges, it is a testament to the resilient spirit of this structure that it has managed to hang tough and even managed to make a bit of history at the same time. Most especially such is true for the tenants who have made this building their business address over the years. Today, some remnants of Calvo's history and that of Escolta can be witnessed along the building's walls, as well as the little museum which is not that well advertised nor quite known, called the Calvo Museum. Named after its first owner, the wealthy Doña Emiliana Mortera, this little space holds some interesting tidbits from Escolta and downtown Manila's glorious past through photos, advertisements, business correspondences, and some scale models of some of the notable structures that used to stand or are still standing in that area. This museum is also home to a sizable collection of bottles of all shapes, types, and sizes. Trivial as they may be, these bottles serve as a glimpse of the day-to-day life of early 20th century Manila in bloom. The operations of Manila were reinforced by the financial services provided by banks in Manila's prime commercial area, including Escolta. As a prestigious business address, Calvo Building was an ideal location for its tenants. Among its first tenants were the Philippine Bank of Commerce, the first 100% Filipino-owned private bank. This historical site played a vital role in establishing the roots of commerce and trade among the Filipino community. This can be seen in the receipt sale invoices and print advertisements of different businesses displayed in the museum inside the establishment. It also served as the home of the first banks and businesses and played a big role in the history of the progress of banking and finance sector in the country. Calvo Museum is located at Escolta, which is accessible to commuters. It is a small museum located at the second floor of the Calvo building. A 50 pesos entrance fee is required to enter the museum. There are no descriptions given to each exhibit, so if you really are interested to know more about the Old Manila, you can pay 300 pesos for a tour. The museum is full of vintage posters, photos, newspapers, bottles, and more. It shows a glimpse of how people lived back then. You can really see the difference between the Old Manila and the New Manila. The Calvo Museum plays a crucial role in preserving the local culture of the community. With careful documentation and preservation, the culture of the people who lived in the Old Manila can be remembered and preserved. With the rate at which cultures are disappearing, careful preservation of daily life is the only hope to preserve its culture. Care, preservation, and display of heritage will always be the core function of the Calvo Museum. Today, the Calvo building stands as a memoir to create a better awareness and appreciation of the days of glory of Escolta.